On this episode of Large Person Wanderings, we're up here at the Cheyenne Depot Museum in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and we're going to do an extra special something and pay another visit to the Union Central Railroad, which is an Hon3 layout, or the up Clear Creek on the narrow gauge railroad, which is a representation of the Colorado and Southern Railroad narrow gauge system, which ran from Denver all the way up to Silver Plume, Colorado. You can see an overview of what the room looks like and the display looks like. So how are we doing today, Tommy?
Good.
Ready to go see this again? So come join us for a tour today. So as we walk in, we're actually going to start at the top of the railroad today, and we'll work our way down. We're up here at Silver Plume, which would have been the northern terminus of the, or furthest west terminus of the railroad where it went. There was a period of time it actually went a little further up to a little community called Bakerville. It had a big lumber mill, a couple of mines. You can see just the incredibly good detail that was put into building this railroad. Here we are looking at Silver Plume. See what the Silver Plume Depot looks like. Here's a picture of what the Silver Plume Depot was before it was during its abandoned dark periods, before it was restored when they got the Georgetown Loop Railroad going. Now we're going to start making our way down from the Silver Plume and go onto the Georgetown Loop portion of it. And here is the one of the mills along the way. You can see it as we follow the track further along, coming down the hill. Coming to an area that was called High Fill. What was unique about this area, believe it or not, Georgetown at one point in time actually had a quasi-professional baseball team. You can see all the model stick figures of the baseball players in it. It's a photo of the Georgetown team. And as we tour along here, here's another little display layout, which is basically the equivalent of an HO gauge starter layout. You can get in kit form. Some more display trains. And as we go further along, and continuing to follow the train along. So we come along here, coming across a few of the trestles that were along the Georgetown Loop. And you can see what it looked like. You can see what the Georgetown High Bridge looks like from distance going this way. Wooden trestle at the far end. Here we can see the Devil's Gate Viaduct, all its splendor. We did an excellent model of it. As we follow the railroad along, coming around the corner, down into Georgetown. Continue to follow the route along. You can see all of a water tank. So the Georgetown Depot. One of several of the many small trestles that were ever prevalent along the line. As the train came up the canyon, it crossed the creek many times. Crossed Clear Creek. Here we're coming up to the Stanley Mills. Coming down through Idaho Springs. See many of the Idaho Springs Depot here. Here's what the main street looks like in Idaho Springs. The train would have been, Bojo's would have been not too far off the main drag here. Definition of a real strip hotel, quote unquote. As we continue to follow the line on along. One of the things that the creator of this model railroad was really and particularly known for was his beautiful painted backdrops. You can see just how good of a breathtaking job he did of incorporating his backdrops with the scenery. Here we are coming up to the Argo Mill, which is, you can certainly see the model of it. The incredible detail he put into it. In another video, Toby and I took a tour of the Argo Mill, which is definitely worth seeing if you ever get a chance to see it and you're in the neighborhood. It's quite the experience. So we continue down the line. See several more of the trestles that cross Clear Creek in various places. And as we continue on along the line here, we are coming into Forks Creek. See, at one point in time they had quite the unique little station, and they also had a dining room and eating house. They also had a mini hotel there at one point in time. Nowadays all there is a traffic light and a turnoff to go up to Idaho Springs or to go up to the casinos in Central City and Blackhawk. And as we continue on the line here, we're coming into a little community called Richardson. You can see the breathtaking models here. Coming by Elk Creek. You can see where the level of the railroad goes on 2 levels here. Coming down by Smith Hill is a very unique station, which would have been called Buffalo at the time. On the upper level, as you can see, you're coming into Blackhawk. You can see the Blackhawk train depot. Again, you can kind of get a sense of how the railroad itself, the model railroad, looks. Many of the aisles. As we come around the corner, and we're coming into Golden and his representation of it. This was later added on upon when the railroad was actually brought up to this museum up here in Cheyenne. It was done by the volunteers and not by Harry Brunk himself. It's really quite something to behold. You can see the roundhouse, the turntable, and the unique water tank, which is really quite something to see. In this display case are several of the original models that were scratch built by the author himself, Harry Brunk. He actually built many of these engines from scratch, or he kit bashed several from brass engines. As you can see, here's some photos of them taking it out of the trailer park that he used to sit in when he lived in Nebraska. I brought the trailer into, when I brought it up here, it was quite the ordeal to get it up here. Here's what them assembling it. Museum as you see it today. There's a photo of Harry himself. Here's some models of some of the rock castings and various vehicles that he used to build it. And here is just a sampling of the book collection and magazine collection that they have up here for it. And last but not least, here's a unique new display called After Promontory. You can see just what the railroad looks like from a distance. It's really quite something to see, and if you're ever in the neighborhood up here in Cheyenne, it's absolutely worth seeing. It's one of the better model railroads that there ever was built. You can see. So, thank you for joining us on this episode. Love to hear from you. Well, in this video of Large Person Wanderings, Tommy and I checked out the Cheyenne Depot Museum, and we took a very in-depth tour of Harry Brunk's Hon3 up Clear Creek on the narrow gauge layout, which is an all-time classic great model railroad. If you are ever in the vicinity of Cheyenne, it is an absolute must-see. I highly recommend it to for everyone. Unfortunately, they weren't running any trains that day, but still, nonetheless, it is definitely worth seeing. And as always, thank you for joining us on all of our video adventures. We'd love to hear from you. You'd love for us to check out anything, other videos. Please don't hesitate to leave us some comments or shoot us any ideas. And as always, my name is Jerome Kress, and enjoy the rest of your day.